that's kind of one of my deals. So with that, I mean, I go and talk about Piedmont blues and a lot of the people, and getting back to some of anybody who was on the line before, I had mentioned Centrum. There's this guy named John Cephas. John Cephas and Phil Wiggins kind of modeled themselves after Brownie and Sonny. Anyway, so that's kind of what my thing is.
Yeah. And what are some of the things that surprised you the most that you've learned about as you taught others about blues and about jazz and about some of the other musical forms that are out there, and as you've gone around the country teaching people about these art forms, what are some of the things that surprised you that you expected people either to know that they didn't know, or that you were pleasantly surprised that they did know?
Man, one of the biggest things that stands out in my mind is, man, I can't get anybody of my age here on the East Coast, really. I mean, especially in North Carolina, to get toes tapping, hands clapping, you name it. But in the Southwest, New Mexico, Arizona, Southern Cal, which is not the Southwest, but over all of that, people's just like my age. They're like, dude, what is that? And so that really, that's really important to me, because it's like, hey, this music's not going to die with someone that can't pass it on. You know what I mean? And to turn other people on, because it's already rare in a way. It's kind of its own. You know, it doesn't stand out like Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know, when someone mentions Reverend Gary Davis or Blind Boy Fuller or somebody like that, they would say, who? But when you say Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan, they're like, yeah. You know? So, but these guys, a lot of these blind musicians, man, they were the Jimi Hendrix and Stevie of their day, because majority of them couldn't see what they were doing. And so that's why, you know, it sounds like two instruments, and these guys can't even see, and it's like, what?
And I imagine a lot of them would be amazed. I imagine a lot of them would even be amazed as what's going on in the cities where the music that they performed was going on. Because, I mean, if you look at like a Durham, if you look at like a Winston-Salem, which is basically reconstructing all of these tobacco warehouses into apartments and things of that nature, these were the same tobacco warehouses that these musicians would play at, or that they might have even worked at.
Right, stand out right in front of. And as a matter of fact, you mentioned that. I have a friend, his name's John D. Holman. John D. is 89, and his wife, Joan, is 74. And I've known John D., and getting back to Centrum, that was kind of like the one of the hubs of my the musical thing. But John D. was out there at Centrum teaching, because he's a Piedmont thing. This is a Piedmont Blues Festival and workshops and stuff. So they had John D. Holman. I see this guy, never heard of him, right? I have to fly across the country and hear about this dude named John D. Holman, who lives an hour and a half, 2 hours from me. Wow. So, and that's just John D. I mean, there was many. And but getting back, there was this guy named John Cephas. I had mentioned John Cephas and Phil Wiggins earlier. But whenever I tell these people this information, like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, my friend John D. Holman, when he was a little boy, this is a story John D. told me, when he was a little boy, he was standing up on his tippy toes looking through the crowd, and he could see Blind Boy Fuller playing. I mean, like, to hear somebody say that, and I love this type of music anyway, I'm like, what? And but I was over at John D's and Jones about a month ago. We had a little gig at this killer woodworker.
That's the 10-minute mark. You still can tell the story. Go on.
Oh, okay. This is cool, man. I've never heard of this or anything, but yeah, but no, whenever I tell these guys, I'm like, yeah, man, I mean, all of this is important stuff. I mean, that's why it's upbeat and lively music. And, you know, a lot of times when people think of the blues, they're like, oh, my God, my girlfriend cheated and then something else happened. And, you know, it's like all sad all the time. Like, no, man. The Piedmont blues, as I had mentioned earlier, it was kind of, if any of you guys ever watched the movie The Sting, had Robert Redford in it, all of that music was ragtime music. That was Scott Joplin's music. It wasn't Scott Joplin playing it because during Scott Joplin's period, they didn't have any recording technology, so his music was sold as sheet music. But
Lakota,
yes,
one of the things I'm always fascinated by is the fact that yes, the blues is popular and has even some popularities here in the States, but it's even more popular when you go overseas. Like when I talk to friends of mine that are from England and France and places like that, they seem to even be more ingrained into the music than we are here. And I was just wondering, in your mind, why that is, why it's just so popular there and not as popular here.
Man, you know what? And this is going to be, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try not to speak as much about music this time. Look at the food, just in Italy or in Europe, really, in France. How is their food? How are the animals? You know, how do they? And just the art and the artisans, really, and even in the food, man. I mean, I don't have to say anything about that, but it's like it's not only in the food; it's in dinner time with no electronics, and it's not. Yeah, maybe. As a matter of fact, there are buildings here in the U.S. that's 250 years old, 300 years old, and they're falling apart. And there's buildings in Italy, thousands of years old, and they're immaculate.
Yeah,
and
real true.
So, yeah, man. And so it's like, man, I'm really an analytical thinker. I get down. I'm like I said, man. I wanted to understand the why from the get-go. That's like famous or infamous question, why, especially for kids. And so
that would be actually one of the questions I would ask, and as we wind down and everything, for those that want to get into the music business, that's part of what I was asking Scoob do and even asking Grant earlier. What advice do you give to folks who want to get into music, whether they want to get into the blues or whether they want to get into rock or whether they want to get into hip-hop or whatever form of music they want to get into? So like I said, you started as a child prodigy, and now you're in your early 20s. So what advice do you give to folks that want to break into the music business?
Man, start as early as you can. And I read this recent article. In order to be considered a pro at something, professional, you have to at least have 10,000 hours involved in this one thing or this practice or whatever you do to be considered somewhat of a guru. And but then I was like, man, I need to do some more research about how we think, how we learn and things. And so I ran across another study, actually a YouTube video with an article and stuff. And it was saying, whatever you want to learn, and I'm going to talk about this in music because I'm going to put that on ice for a second. When I started playing, I had this guy, he showed me my first 3 chords. And he said, John, always sing while you're playing so you never lose your spot. Learn how to sing. Learn how so you can keep track with yourself, and you can also entertain yourself and entertain others and this and that. So that was just encouragement from day one. But start as early as you can, whatever it is, especially with music, because it's never too late. I mean, and that's something that someone cannot take from you. And the more time you invest, the better you get, and it's kind of like repetition, And I'm not going to sit here and paint that it's all of this and that, because I remember playing birthday parties and this and that, and there's nothing wrong with those. because that led, I had to be there in order to be here. And that's another thing that I'm always grateful for, is especially my parents. They really got me into music, and they never gave up on me. And I'll never give up on them, because I recently, shout out to a friend of mine, his name is Terry Fritz. Terry reached out to me about a year ago, and he wanted to build a guitar for me, and he makes hand custom guitars out of Greensboro, North Carolina, and which is killer. But so I would have never thought that I would have gotten a custom guitar. Someone would come to me and say, anything you want, here's an acoustic. And really, I'm really blessed and fortunate, and that's the thing. It's like I never gave up, and I was very persistent. And I've had people that say, "Oh, you're not going to be this," and managers that tell me, "Oh, we can't work with you because of the style you're in." But I've always kept with me the elders that they taught me. John, never give up. You got it, man. We're passing it on.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely continue to pass it on. Got about 3 minutes to go, but Lakota, if folks wanted to hear more of your music or hear more about you, what's the best website that they can reach you at? And then at the end, we always wrap up with whatever profile thoughts people have got that they just want to share and everything. But just really quickly, if folks want to reach out to you, how would they reach out to you? Is there like a certain website that folks need to go to?
Yeah, actually, right now my website is under construction. That's another thing I do. I do media marketing and many different things. I could go on about 2 hours. But so www.lakotajohn.com. That's LakotaJohn.com. And we don't have time, but I would go and talk about Lakota, and that is who I am. And people just think it's a name, but it is. But you can reach me there. Also, right now, social media or email is the best way to get in touch with me, just because I am working on my site. And
we'll definitely have you back on. Yeah, no doubt. We'll definitely have to have you back on at some point to talk about a little bit of the Lakota heritage and things of that nature, because I know that's part of what you were talking about. But yeah, we only got about 3 minutes to go and everything. But we will definitely have you back on to talk about that rich heritage that you are part of, and I'll set up a time probably sometime for next year that we can talk a little bit about that as well. But if Scoop is still on the line, I want to get his profile thought. I think he may have dropped already, but we'll start with you, Lakota, if you've got any profile thought that you want to share with the audience, and then Dean will probably pop in, and then I will wrap it up.
I didn't hear you, man. I'm sorry.
So I was saying we're wrapping up, so we've got about 2 minutes. So if you've got any profile thought that you want to share with the audience, it can be on anything that you would like to share with the audience.
I'm actually good, man, because I'll get in the middle of another story.
No problem at all. We do understand, and I appreciate you being on. Dean, what you got to say? We've had a lot of musicians give a lot of good sound advice, and we learned a lot of history.
Yes, indeed. It's been a good show, man. I appreciate all of our guests, Grant Maloy Smith, Scoob Doo, Lakota John. We had Lewis from the Scarlet Hawk Network that we have just joined, so I appreciate that. We thank all of you every Monday night, except holidays where you can catch the replay. And we're on a number of platforms, so make sure you find us at Squared 807. But like I always say, when you walk out your front door, it's showtime, and the world is your stage. Just make sure that people are not watching the rehearsal. So that's it for me. We will see you next week. Same time, same place. It's the six-man Dean Geronimo, and I'm out.
And on that same note, we'll definitely have some more great guests next week. We look forward to seeing you back here on next Monday, where we'll have some more great guests talking about all kinds of things. Some might be about politics, some might be about culture, but it will all be a rich conversation, and we are definitely looking forward to it. And as we always like to say, definitely keep informed, stay informed, and definitely try to learn as much as you can about the world around you. So that's what I've got to say as we head on out of here on this particular episode of Straight Talk with Dean and Mark. We'll be back next week with more exciting conversations and topics to talk about.
Y'all have a good one and enjoy the rest of your week.
Right.